Modern life talks a lot about happiness, not in a philosophical way, but in a very practical one. Be comfortable, feel good, avoid stress. From a very young age, the message is subtle but consistent. A good life is one that feels pleasant most of the time. If something feels uncomfortable, the assumption is that it should be fixed, removed, or avoided. You can see this everywhere. In advertising that promises ease and convenience. In social media posts that show only highlights. In casual conversations where success is measured by how relaxed or satisfied someone seems. And yet, despite all of this focus on happiness, many people feel quietly unsettled. Not dramatically unhappy, just uneasy. There is often a sense that life should feel better than it does. That things are going well on paper, but something still feels off. This usually shows up in a familiar pattern. Someone works toward a goal for years, a promotion, a better salary, more stability. They imagine that reaching this point will finally bring relief. And when it happens, it does. For a while. There's a sense of arrival, a feeling that the effort was worth it. But slowly, something shifts. The new role becomes normal. The new lifestyle blends into routine. And almost without noticing, the mind moves on. To the next goal, the next improvement. The next thing that needs to be fixed, not because something is wrong, but because satisfaction doesn't last the way we expect it to. When happiness becomes the main measure of whether life is going well, difficulty starts to feel personal. Stress feels like failure. Uncertainty feels like a mistake. Effort starts to feel unnecessary. People don't usually say this out loud, but it shows up quietly. In the feeling that something should be easier by now. In the thought that life shouldn't feel this heavy. In the constant checking of whether things are okay enough. This doesn't mean people are weak. It means they're measuring their lives by a fragile standard. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist who lived through extreme human suffering. He survived concentration camps during the Second World War. There was no comfort, no safety, no control over circumstances. Daily life was reduced to survival. In that environment, ideas about happiness simply didn't apply. Frankl noticed something that challenged a basic assumption. People living under the same conditions reacted very differently. Some lost the will to continue. Others, facing the same suffering, held on to dignity and purpose. It wasn't about intelligence. It wasn't physical strength. And it wasn't blind optimism. Some of the strongest people collapsed early. Some of the weakest endured. Frankl became interested in why. The difference was not intelligence. It was not physical strength. It was not optimism. It was meaning. Those who believed their lives still mattered, even in unbearable conditions, experienced suffering differently. Pain didn't disappear. Fear didn't disappear. But despair didn't fully take over. Meaning didn't remove suffering. It gave suffering a place. Modern culture often treats happiness and meaning as the same thing, but they're not. Pleasure feels good in the moment. Meaning gives direction over time. You can see this difference clearly in everyday life. Two people face the same challenge. One avoids discomfort whenever possible. The other accepts discomfort because it serves something important. One structures life around feeling good. The other structures life around something that feels worthwhile. One feels better more often. The other feels steadier. When circumstances change, the feeling changes with them. Meaning doesn't work that way. It stays even when motivation drops, even when energy is low, even when progress feels slow. Meaning answers a different question, not how do I feel today, but why does this matter at all? Meaning anchors identity. People who feel grounded in meaning don't need every day to feel good in order to feel okay with life. They can tolerate boredom. They can tolerate frustration. They can tolerate effort, not because they enjoy it, but because it fits into a larger picture. Most suffering today isn't dramatic. It looks ordinary. Stress at work, health concerns, relationship tension, uncertainty about the future. These things can't be avoided entirely. Trying to eliminate all discomfort usually creates more anxiety, not less, because life becomes a constant attempt to protect a feeling. Frankl talked about a small but critical space. Between what happens and how someone responds, that space is easy to miss, especially when emotions run high. But it's where choice exists. Not control over circumstances, but control over attitude. Think about someone who unexpectedly loses a job. The event itself is painful. That part is unavoidable. But what follows depends on interpretation. Seen as personal failure, it eats away at confidence. Seen as a transition, it's still difficult, but it becomes manageable. The situation doesn't change, the meaning does. Frankl believed meaning comes from responsibility, not from asking what life owes us, but from asking what is being asked of us. That question shifts attention from comfort to contribution, from feeling good to responding well. Frankl described 3 common sources of meaning: work, contributing something through effort; love, connection with other people; and attitude, the way unavoidable suffering is carried. None of these guarantee happiness, but all of them can sustain a life. Meaning can't be prescribed. It can't be copied from someone else's life, and it can't be outsourced. Each person has to discover it in their own way. That's part of what makes it difficult, and part of what makes it real. Many modern struggles don't come from lack of comfort. They come from lack of direction. People can have stability, convenience, and safety, and still feel lost. Because comfort answers physical needs, meaning answers existential ones. Happiness alone can't carry a life through difficulty. Meaning gives context to effort. It explains why showing up matters, even on days when nothing feels rewarding. People with meaning tend to recover differently from setbacks. Difficulty becomes part of a longer story, not an interruption, but a chapter. They don't escape hardship faster. They move through it with more coherence. Life doesn't promise happiness, It offers meaning through responsibility, choice, and commitment. Meaning doesn't remove pain. It prevents pain from becoming pointless. Meaning provides orientation. It doesn't tell you how to feel. It helps you decide how to live. Happiness comes and goes. Meaning lasts. And when it does, life becomes more bearable, and often more profound. These ideas come from Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. The book is linked below for those who want to explore it further.